Jason, if you can hit some of the highlights of your platform and why folks should vote for you, Democrats should vote for you on Tuesday, September 15th.
Well, we've talked a lot about jobs today, and we've talked a lot about it out there on the campaign trail. We've been in every neighborhood in the city with house meetings and knocking on doors. And if there's one thing I hear more than anything, it's we need a mayor who knows how to bring better jobs here. And the last 15 years when I've worked as an economist, as an organizer, as an executive, it's always been on these economic development issues. So I've got street level experience. I know what a city like Frederick has to do to bring better jobs up here. And too many of us running down the road. You don't know how many people I've talked to out there who are running down the road for work, and they're making a little more money down there, and they're spending 3 and 4 and 5 hours a day away from home, away from their families, and that takes a toll on us. So we need a mayor who wakes up every day thinking about what the city can do to help bring some of those folks home, create better jobs right here.
Okay, what do you think about different parts of the city? One of the things that I've always said is we're one city, one Frederick.
Yeah.
How do you feel about making certain that there's something done with the Fredericktown Mall? I mean, the rest of the Gold Mile is pretty gold. And what about the Fredericktown Mall? They had another vision, and nothing's happened except that we have Ollie's and Boscov and Bonton and Home Depot. What else can a woman want?
I don't think another facelift and another couple of tenants there is a long-term solution. I think one of my first meetings, if we win this race, will be with that New Jersey, New York developer who owns that site, to see that they're making a serious investment there and that the city's doing its part, and that we're going after some state money to help reimagine that and make something big happen there. We could anchor redevelopment on the west side with a smart project there. It's happening right now down in Montgomery County, along Rockville Pike. Route 40 is our Rockville Pike.
Mm-hmm. Congressional Plaza.
And Rockville Pike it's crowded with retail, and there's some folks living there, and they're reimagining it because they understand that you've got to as the city grows, you've got to put them where the infrastructure already exists. We've got roads, water, sewer, and the old mall was a great place when I was a kid. That's where I wanted to be on a Friday night, and I've spent very little time there in the last few years.
Deserted.
Yeah.
Ain't much there in the last week.
So we got a great
Bonton's
opportunity.
at Home Depot. I spend my time in the Bill's money there.
Walk through the middle.
I don't go to the middle.
That's right.
Yeah, I walked through a couple weeks ago. We had a birthday party, and it's grim. We need something new there, and it needs to be something big. We can't just patch it up again.
Well, that's an old-time mall. Malls change their face every 10 years anyhow, that's a very old mall. We'd like to see some businesses, some jobs down there. So.
That's right. It ought to be mixed use. It oughtn't be just the latest iteration of a mall.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What are the problems?
And then there's the new mall. Sorry, it's going to need something new before too long too. It's not a city thing. It sits right on the city's edge, but it
have escape, which is in the county.
Right. Sorry.
The biggest one that I think is always phenomenal was 7th Street. I mean, how many facelifts has that had over the years? And it's just a phenomenal
still plugging
mall.
along.
Good operator.
Mm-hmm.
Got a good operator there. What do you think are the big pressing? I mean, now the budget's a big deal. I mean, obviously, everyone's hurting. Whoever the next mayor is, going to have to make some very tough decisions about how to balance it. Whether it's going to be through furloughs, cutting back hours, or just cutting people. Something will have to be done because a freight train is headed this way. Hopefully, things get turned around and get turned around quickly. But what do you think are the major problems that need to be tended to? You just hit on about jobs, that you think there needs to be a mayor that really goes after creating some jobs here. What are some of the other issues that you think that may need to be tended to immediately?
One is what Anita just brought up. We've got to start treating this like one city. I've heard people talk about the west side of the city like it's another world. And we need a mayor who's out in every part of the city and helps to knit us together. Some of that we do just with relationships. You got a mayor who spends time in every part of the city and listens to folks in every part of the city. I think that's important, and the work I've done as an organizer over the years has trained me well. I've spent a lot of time in the last year listening to folks, and we've been in every part of the city. And another is we need to start knitting our neighborhoods together. We've got parks, for example, neighborhood parks that are supposed to be tied together with bike paths and running paths, and that's something we've talked about as a city for 30 years now. And that's an investment we've got to make, because it'll start to tie the city together in ways now that it's not. And back to the budget, Blaine, it is going to be tough. It's going to be brutal. And I don't want us to raise taxes.
You're going to lower taxes.
My opponent,
some candidates are running them. They're going to lower taxes.
I don't know how you're going to do all the things we say we want to do and lower taxes, but I'm not going to raise them. I'll guarantee that. It's my opponent in the race who raised taxes 2 times in 03 and 05, and we're going to have to find a way to get some savings without giving up the things we really care about. So we need to make investments first of the kind we've been talking about today, jobs incubators and investments in workforce training, leveraging other money from the private sector, from the county, state level, the federal level.
The county and the state aren't going to have any money, I can assure you. I mean, just pray that the state doesn't send the pensions back to the county to fund, because otherwise it's going to be worse than horrible.
Yeah. But when we're talking about big long-term projects, the county and the city have to get in line so that we're going to win the money when it comes around. We've got big projects that we've been talking about for years and years. Finishing Monocacy Boulevard. There's talk now about a Biggs Ford Road interchange. There's talk about getting a transit option down 270. Those are big, expensive projects. And we need a mayor who's a good campaigner. He's going to put those on his or her list and go fight for them in Annapolis and in Washington.
Well, you know, if you ever wanted to send a message to the county, and people aren't going to agree with what I'm saying, but, first of all, I live in the county now, but I own a couple properties in the city, so I pay property taxes. But when I moved out to the county, I thought, this is incredible. My taxes have gone down about 40%, and the only thing I miss really is trash, and that's only costing me about $150 a month. But now here's the thing about it. All these county residents get to come on in the city and enjoy all those city services,
Absolutely.
then go on back out to the county.
At
and pay
my
county
expense,
taxes.
thank you.
So, it's not that I'm advocating the city go to war with the county or the county go to the city, but the county needs to also realize that there's a lot of their citizens that get to enjoy city services and not have to pay city taxes.
Do you support tax equity or tax differential?
A differential. I don't know if everybody out there knows what that is. Right now we have tax equity, where the county decides they're going to give some lump sum back to the city for all the services that the city's providing that the county doesn't have to. It was supposed to be $5 million this last year. Money's tight, so they cut it. We need tax differential so that the county is rebating directly to folks who live in the city with a lower tax rate, that differential.
Sure. And I don't know if people know what I'm talking about, but I used to joke around and say, you go to play golf at Cluster Spires and say, oh, Nita, you live in the city, your fee's $10 for 18 holes. Sorry, Jason, you live in the county, it's $20 because she's a city resident, so her tax. You go to the Weinberg Center and you buy a ticket. Oh, Nita, you live in the city, it's $20 to get in. Sorry, Jason, you live in the county, it's $40. At the city, I mean, there's a lot of services that people enjoy in the city.
Or better yet, in Hillcrest Park, we had a whole bunch of kids there that were playing, and they were last year, and they were from Urbana.
You bring up a prime example. You can say to a little league, "Oh, you're a county little league team wanting to use it." I mean, I don't think we need to get to that petty, but I don't think that they realize.
But we need a mayor who can both tussle with the county over this, and these are tough issues, but can also sustain that relationship, keep that conversation going, and get a deal. And I've been doing that for years and years.
All right, let's go to Ruth. Ruth. On South Market Street. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. I'd like to ask Mr. Judd why he hasn't knocked on doors in the residential area of South Market Street.
Well, Ruth, I have. I may have missed your door, but we've spent a lot of time down on South Market. I was on Carrollton just last night. Not
She's
too far
talking about
from your
South
neighborhood.
Market and what's it coming in? Oh, rats.
Ruth, you're up by Maryland School for the Deaf up that way, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember the cross street, Ruth. You have to pardon me. I'm having a senior moment.
Well, Ruth, I'd be happy to come see you. What's your number?
411.
411.
Thanks.
And she's a nice person. You'll like her.
Right.
Thank you.
Let's take a.
That was an easy question.
No, you didn't knock on my door.
Let's take a quick break. I want to thank Flamingo